Nigeria's cashew farmers are now taking advantage of the federal government's focus on agriculture to drive growth in non-oil exports and diversify the country's foreign revenue base, and have increased their exports by as much as 463% in the last quarter. Our data from the National Bureau of Statistics have shown that cashew farmers and exporters are benefiting from improved farming practices and packaging, leading to a significant increase in exports of the produce from the country. For more on this and what this means for Nigeria's export and trade balance, I'm being joined by one of the research analysts at financial derivatives company, Chiamaka Madu. Good afternoon, Chiamaka. You're back in the studio.
Yes, I am.
Good to see you.
Same here.
Now, as Nigeria seeks to diversify its economy, we've seen the cashew nut exports increasing, and for a long time now, we haven't seen this happen. 463% in the second quarter. Now, what does this mean for Nigeria's export and, of course, our trade balance?
I think the first and foremost, we need to commend the government, in this diversification strategy, saying that is, shifting its focus to the agricultural sector. We need to commend that, and we see that play out in Q2 of 2017. The agricultural sector was quite impressive, and we attribute it to, the cashew industry, and that's very surprising if you ask me. It went from a 2.4 billion naira industry to a 13.5 billion naira industry, contributing about 45.4% to that industry. So I think it's something to commend. And what does this mean, for our trade balance? It means that in the following quarters we expect to see, improved trade balance, especially in the export part of, the balance. We see that in Q2 of 2017, the non-oil exports to total exports contributed about 5.3% to total exports. But in the following quarters, given the improvements in the cashew industry, we see, increase significantly.
Now, it's not all about cashew and the agricultural sector. We have cocoa. Now, what do you think may have contributed to the increase we have seen in this cashew export in the quarter under review?
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, there's been an increased focus in the agricultural sector, and we see that there's been a consistency in ensuring that the cashew industry gains global recognition, and so far it has played out well, and we see that improved stringent measures are being put in place to ensure that our export commodity, the cashew, is of high quality, and that has played out fine. We see farmers, changing the way they package their products, changing the way they dry their cashew nuts. So these factors, played out to see that it contributed to the growth of the cashew industry. Right.
Now, how much potentials do you think this commodity has to be a major foreign exchange earner? We're talking about a diversifying economy and looking away from oil.
Yeah. It's going to be, in the coming years, going to be not major, but it's going to be, revenue enough for the economy. It might not happen now, but it's going to happen very soon. And don't forget, obsolescence of oil is gradually coming to, it's gradually coming closer. As we've seen India say in the next 13 years, the use of hydrocarbon cars will be banned in that country. So it's good that we're, shifting our focus to the agricultural sector, and additional revenue streams for from this cashew industry, is a welcome development for the economy.
Right. Now, some analysts believe that, of course, what we have seen in the second quarter is the best performance of cashew for exporters since the crop started gaining recognition, in the country. Now, how do you think the government and the stakeholders can actually harness these potentials that this particular commodity has got?
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, this commodity has a huge potential for the Nigerian economy. However, I think it's important to note that the industry is not yet maximizing its earnings. We see that it exports mainly unprocessed cashew, and recent reports show that the value of processed cashew is six times higher than the value of unprocessed cashew. So I think the industry needs to shift its focus and maximize the earnings in the processed cashew space than in the unprocessed cashew space.
And looking at the Nigeria's agricultural sector generally, what would this mean for that sector?
This is good news for the agricultural sector. I'm actually glad that we're recognizing that the sector is the next best thing after oil, and in the next few years, agriculture will be the main focus for the economy. We've seen that we've seen increased players in the market. We've seen that more players are interested in taking advantage of this space. So I think the industry is bright. If the cashew industry continues to perform as it is, I'll leave it at that.
Would it be the sky being their limit, or
That's starting point?
All right, thank you very much, Chair Bakar,
Thank you for
coming
having
to the
me.
studio.
Thank you.